In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser, and this week Joe is on holiday. That's not true, he's not. But I have a special guest with me today, Kyle Heath, who is a TechnoWizard and former superhero. Kyle, how are you doing? Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vicky. I don't know if I've been called a techno-wizard before. That's certainly a new one on me, and I'm happy to take that, happy to wear that hat, having been a superhero. I understand where you're coming from.
Cool. I'm going to get you to tell people a little bit about yourself in a second. But before we do that, I realised that normally I start the podcast with what gin I'm drinking, but it's 10:05 in the morning, and I'm not drinking gin today because I am not, an alcoholic. I am drinking a cup of monkey tea. What are you drinking, Kyle?
Well, I've been up since 5:30 with my two daughters this morning, so I've already polished off a whole pot of filter coffee. That's kind of my gin for a morning.
So your podcast interview is going to be done at 90 miles an hour then?
Yeah, and I pretty much go that fast anyway, so we're in big trouble. Maybe we'll fit more in less time.
Okay, well, together we're going to sound like chipmunks because I speak way too quickly too. So maybe we could tell people to listen to this podcast on like 3/4 speed and we might sound like normal people between us.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, well, let's dive in. I've got my tea, so I'm happy to sit and listen to you tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, Vicky, I'll say I'm Kyle Heath. I've been a techno-wizard in IT for coming on around 20 years now. And what I really do for people at the moment is help them make 20% of their employees redundant, which kind of sounds a bit awful, really. And maybe I should explain that in a little bit more detail, what that actually means.
Yeah, do.
I don't actually want you to get rid of all of your employees. That's not what my intention is. But what I mean by that is most of our time is spent wasted in what we do, not using technology to our advantage. We're in fear of it, and we're looking for this data, and we're looking for that. In fact, we started this conversation where you were looking for something, you couldn't find it, and it's super, super common. It's what most of my clients who work with me go through. So what I try and do for them is say, look, it's not a dark art, this technology thing at all. It's that you don't understand it and maybe a little fearful of it. When you show it to people and they learn it, they get better at it. When they get better at it, then they get the value out of it, and then they start going, this stuff's super cool. I'm loads more productive. I can have more cups of tea, or I can finish early and start on the gin, whatever they want to do. Cool. So really, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to make you people redundant. I want them to be better at what they do so they can do less of the mundane and more of the stuff that makes you valuable.
That makes perfect sense, and I love that idea. And I just wanted to kind of point out for people who are out there, I love technology and I love gadgets. It's not that I'm a technophobe or a technical Philistine. I'm a complete technical idiot. So it's like I just want stuff to work. It's part of the reason I like Apple, because Apple just works and it's made for people like me. I think you just want it to be simple. So that said, what do you reckon people's biggest misconceptions about technology, and particularly mobile technology, are?
One of the key misconceptions is that it is difficult. And actually, it's bad tech that's difficult, and the good tech is simple. You've made a good reference there with Apple. I've used Apple products over the years, and they're intuitive, they're easy. Jobs had got that nailed when he first put that together. And that's one of the key things. It's that it isn't that difficult. It's mostly that we don't know how to use it. And once we do, and we're shown how to do it, then it becomes a lot simpler for us. And from a mobile perspective, I know that when I first started with you, I was a solopreneur, as that phrase has now been coined. And many of your audience are, or they're in smaller businesses. And more as we move on now, everything is in that phone that's in our pocket. That is where most of our life is from. And it enables us to run our business wherever we are. And really, that's where you want to be. You want to be able to say, I can do about 80% of what I need to do from my mobile phone, which sounds crazy when you start, but it isn't. You can dip in and out of it. It's flexible. I don't say work-life balance, Vicky, now. I say work-life integration.
Yeah.
And that's particularly poignant when I speak with people who are my age. I'm 44, and they've got younger employees. And they go, I don't know these millennials. I don't know how to attract them. I don't know how to keep them. But the point is they've grown up with all of this technology, and you need to appreciate that the 9 to 5's gone. that people want to do, like I did this morning. They might want to be up at 5:30, do a run, then do some work until 6 or 7, and then do something else because they haven't got the young'uns yet. Or they might want to find they work best from 8 p.m. till midnight. That's their best time of day. And with the phone in your pocket, you're not constrained by where you are either.
No, that's true. So can you give us a because you said to me before, I remember us having conversations before where I kind of nodded and smiled and then carried on doing what I do. But you said before, you should be able to run most of your business out of your phone. Can you give us a few examples of how we could do that? 'Cause obviously we all know about, we can send emails on our phones and that kind of thing. Social media is obviously on the phones. What else can we do with our phones that would be helpful?
Well, certainly one of the biggest things at the moment, if we're trying to attract business and market, we want to get attention. Attention is video. And you have got yourself a complete mobile portable studio in your hand. I mean, this thing here is a recording studio. It's got the ability to record all the video, all the sound that you need wherever you are. My partner does it in her business. Her business is wedding bouquets and event hires. It's beautiful. The things that she does are fabulous. They look wonderful. And she will put together little video clips and she'll edit them all on the phone and then put them all onto Instagram or onto a social media through there. So if you're in a visual business, if your business has a visual impact, then you can do all of the editing on your phone wherever you are. You don't need to have an expensive Apple computer like you used to do that video editing. That's one key that we can do with the mobile phone. The second key might be, everyone's got email on the phone. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But let's say there's the two of us working in the business. You've got a document, I've got a document. Well, we can both open that document at the same time. And then you might say, well, Carl, I'm down in front of the computer now. I'm going to start working in that document. I'm not, I'm traveling around. Well, I can see it real time as you edit it. And that's something we've never been able to do before, is this real time. No more email to you, email to me, real time editing at the same time.
That actually is a really useful thing, particularly obviously for writers like myself, if you're kind of working with other people, preventing that backwards and forwards thing. People have told me, that the Google Docs thing can be really useful. Is it Google Docs that you're talking about, that kind of thing, or are there other things?
Yeah, and both, you can do that with Google G Suite and you can do that with Microsoft Office 365. They both do it. They kind of do it in different little ways, but it's the same concept.
Yeah.
You work on something at the same time.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I think I can see how that would be really helpful to, particularly for copywriters whose clients might be making edits or you might be wanting to make edits. I can also see how that could be really irritating for copywriters whose clients are like, I don't like that word, I'm going to change it. And it's like, I used it for a reason. But yeah, I generally love the idea. I think particularly for teams collaborating, that's a really powerful thing. So how easy is it? Because one of the problems that I have with phones is I'm not like thumb savvy. Like, how you see kids kind of texting really, really quickly and they've got these shortcuts. So how do you get around that problem? How do you get around the problem of being able to actually use it like a tiny laptop and being able to do stuff on the fly?
Yeah, that's a good point either. It isn't necessarily easy for all of us to use that. The keyboard is small. It's not straightforward. One thing that I do quite a lot on my phone, I can talk to it. So I can narrate to the phone and it writes it down. It's not like it used to be years and years ago where that was awful and not one word would be correct. The AI that's out there today, and what I mean by that is our phones are connected to the internet all the time. So when you start to talk into a phone now, it's not the phone that's going to be actually looking at what you're saying. It's going to proxy that off and send it up into the cloud, as they call it, big data centers full of computers. And they're brilliant at understanding our voice patterns.
Okay.
Pretty much now, you can record straight into your phone and then later on edit down, you got a blog post. Really quick.
So what do you use to do that? Because the only one that I've really heard of that's any good is Dragon Dictation.
I've got phone of choice. There's two types. There's Apple or there's Android. I have an Android phone. In an Android phone, I can go into a Keep note-taking application and I press the little icon for the microphone. The phone says speak now and I start talking to it. And it understands what I say. And actually, what's super cool is it'll first get it wrong, a bit like the teletext did when you used to watch teletext. And it would say, in the news today, the bread roll. And you go, bread roll? It will then change that word and actually put it back into what it is. And that's the moment it goes to the cloud. So it initially hears something and then it understands the context. And that's what's so new about technology. It's understanding the context of our conversations. It's not literally taking each word for word. It understands the structure of the sentence and what we're saying.
That's really exciting. I love the fact that it can do that. So how does it? So do you say you send it somewhere online and it will do? Does it do speech to text? Is that what you're talking about?
It does speech to text. You do nothing. All you do is press the microphone icon on the phone and you start to talk. The phone then hands that off up to the cloud. In this case, it's Google. Hands it off to Google. It interprets your voice and then puts it on the screen. That's happening instantaneously all the time because we're all connected.
Okay, that's an awesome tip, I think, for a bunch of people, because quite often I hear, I can't type, I'm not a very good writer, blah, blah, blah. And so if, that's not really an excuse any longer with this kind of technology. It's like everybody can talk about the thing that they know about. And so this is a really good solution for people, I think.
Absolutely. Not only for those of us who are one-finger typist specialists, but for those of us who have problems in life where we can't do that. This is empowering people. This is empowering some of the elderly people in care lodges to talk into phones with a relative and get that history down without them having, they don't type it out. Get that history down. Don't lose it forever. This kind of stuff, it opens up multiple different ways of looking at life. I
love that. I haven't thought about that before. I think that's my favourite thing. Well, I don't know. We haven't finished our conversation yet. So that's my favourite thing. Okay, cool. So another thing that I do, and I'm going to have to figure out if my new iPad will do this, is I'm waving my Bluetooth keyboard at Kyle now. And I'm assuming that you can attach Bluetooth keyboards to phones as well and do it that way.
You can indeed, yes. What we're tending to get to now is, we say, okay, is this phone something that I can put a keyboard and a mouse to? And then you think, well, what's the point in that? I might as well have a laptop. You're probably right about now. But where it's going, and Samsung have already got one out there now. Samsung have got a system called the DeX, DEX. And you can take one of their top-end phones and you dock it into the dock that's on your desk, and that's connected via Bluetooth to a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. And up on the big screen in front of you appears all your apps.
That's cool.
And if you've got your business running out of Cloud 365 or G Suite, for example, everything's in the cloud, you can run all your apps on a full screen. And therefore, I'm predicting that within about 5 years, most solopreneurs will run everything from a mobile phone, pretty much, with a dock back at home. And you might have a small, lightweight Chromebook or something to take with you when you travel. And within 10 years, everyone in the office, that's what it will be. You'll come in, plug your phone in, all your apps will appear on the screen. And when you take it out and go home, all the apps for the business will be taken off the phone the moment you undock it too. So all the data gets left behind in the business. So that security thing about how I can't have an employee with their own phone, that's going to go as well.
That's really exciting. I really like that idea, because I would love to do more with my phone and kind of getting my head around that. I think because when I go on holiday, I'm not going to take my laptop with me. I'm going to take my iPad because I'm going to be drawing on it. I'm also going to take my Bluetooth keyboard because if I want to do any writing, it's just easier to do it like that. Because I'm talking to you now on my MacBook Pro, which is raised up on a little platform, so I don't use the keypad on the MacBook. I use the Bluetooth keyboard, which is kind of easier to type. Anyway, that's near the head of that. Thank you for that. That's really, really cool. Okay, so I had another question as well, because I think this is one that will resonate with many people, including me. What do you see as business owners' biggest struggles with technology, and how can we overcome them? And you've talked to me quite a lot, so you know the kind of things that I struggle with, which is everything.
The number one biggest struggle, and I was guilty of this, is you try and do everything yourself. You've shared this many times in Business for Superheroes. You try and do things yourself. I tried to do my website when I first started out. I'm glad that that's not recorded anywhere for posterity, because it was dreadful. It was awful. Couldn't do it. Had to get my friend Tom in from Italy to do it for me and get it sorted out, because I'm not an expert in it. And that's the key. We tend to think we can do things ourselves, and we can do a bit, but we don't do it right. And then we get annoyed and go, this is rubbish. It's not what I thought it was. And therefore then you kick it in. And actually what you need to do is you need to get those experts in. So that's the key one. It doesn't have to cost you a fortune, but find somebody in your network who knows what they're doing and get them to help you. You wouldn't do your end of year corporation tax accounts, and you wouldn't do your own dentistry either.
No, that's true. But I do know what the objection to that is going to be from the people who are literally just starting up and quite honestly have zero cash. It's like, I literally haven't got anyone to pay. So have you got any advice for people who might need a bit of tech or a bit of help, who genuinely don't have a bean to rub together yet, but they will do soon, hopefully?
No, that's a fair point. Well, the first place they want to start is the Facebook groups. Are pretty much the best groups I find at the moment. I've got a couple of groups. I've been in many groups for a long time. Most people in there want to give. Most people want to help people in life. That's what I believe, that most of us are good inherently, and we do want to help each other. So Facebook groups can be a great place to start. And then you can put your question out there. And just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask the question. No one's going to take the Michael out of you and troll you. Well, if they do, ignore them. Most people are going to be really nice and they're going to give you the answer that you want. And then you can start doing a few things there without having to have any cost other than a little bit of time.
That's cool. That's really good advice. Thank you. Okay, so what else do people struggle with when it comes to, so, you know, it might be kind of using technology. It might be, what's the best place that people can go to find out about what there is and how it can help them?
That's an interesting one with that kind of thing. Well, one of the ones that I do is get a little app on the phone. We'll come back to the phone again. It's called Feedly.
Okay.
Feedly is a little app, free on your phone, and you can get to pick news stories from different industries. So maybe pick a couple of news stories from the tech industries. It's a simple section, tech. You can click on a few of those and it will start to feed those through to you. So you'll start to understand a few of the things that are happening in tech. So you'll see a lot of stuff related to augmented reality. And you've probably seen that if you've ever used Snapchat, and that's where you point your phone at something like Pokemon Go and it appears in the phone. Well, there's going to be lots more of that, and that's going to have great application and uses. So try out some of the apps that these things talk about. They're nearly always free to start with. Try playing around with them. That's one thing. Get yourself down to a VR center and have some fun on yourself with the family. Just type VR my location and someone somewhere will have a shop that you can go into and put virtual reality set on and have a look at it. It's unbelievable. Unbelievably amazing. And then you will start to go, how's technology changing the world? Right. I can see I can go on holiday anywhere I want now. I can go around any building I want to go around now. I can be shown around. You can understand how shopping is going to be transformed. Retail will change. And then you might go, okay, I'm starting to get some of the ways that technology is really, really ramping up right now. Cool,
thank you for that. I'm going to have to seek out some VR. I don't know if there are any in the Shire because we're in the middle of nowhere, but I'm going to give it a go and have a look because I love that kind of.
Yeah, you're probably going to have to get yourself up towards. I certainly know in Birmingham there's several in Birmingham. That's not too far away, and yeah, they're not. It's like £25 for half an hour or something like that, and half an hour's good, you know, and you'll have an amazing time.
Cool. Okay, thanks for that. Good tip. Okay, so what if you are a total techie idiot like me? Where do you even start with tech and getting to know what to use and how to use it and, you know, all that kind of thing? Who do you call?
What I always tell people to do is if they're ready to have somebody who's going to specifically help them, and I'm taking the instance of you've got a business here and you've got some budget. So you said, okay, I've got some money now. I need to get someone to help me. You want to start looking for a good referral. So ask other people you're working for in business, particularly people you see who are doing okay with it. Now, who are you using? How are they helping you? Is there someone you can get in touch with? You want somebody who's local, someone you can meet face to face generally is the best place to get started. And what you want to focus on now is that everything you're going to do is going to be online. It's going to be in the cloud, as everybody calls it. And the cloud really means great big data centers full of computers that someone else owns.
Okay.
The reason you want to do that is no matter how much money you put into the computer in front of you, and we've spent a few pounds because we've got MacBook Pro, so we know that costs a lot of money, it can't process anywhere near as much as great big data centers across the world from Google and Microsoft can. And they are full of this thing called machine learning and AI, where the computers are learning to be intelligent on our behalf. And that's where the real power is coming into this kind of stuff. And that's what you want to be getting into using.
Okay, so do you think that's going to be like the next big thing in tech and business then is AI?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, IT's been pretty similar for about 20 years, really. We had some computers on our desks, we had some laptops, and we had some servers in our office and things like that. The internet came in, it's got bigger and bigger. Now we've got the phones, that's got bigger and bigger. Now it's the AI. I really feel that we're on the cusp now of like what would be the equivalent of the move of agriculture into the towns in the Industrial Revolution is where we are now. People are on the road, they've got their stuff in their car, and they're moving towards the industrialized towns. That's where we are at the moment because the AI is going to be able to understand what we do and take care of things. Google recently at their next event had a situation in which the AI made a phone call as an appointment to book someone to a hair salon. The hair salon was real. The person on the other end was the AI. They had a conversation and it booked it, but the nuances were the bit that counted. Halfway through the conversation, the AI went, okay. It was using human nuances. This means in the future, you're going to be able to shout at things like your Alexa and your Google Home devices, and you're going to say, hey, Google, okay, Google, see that calendar appointment I've got with Vicky next Tuesday. Move that to Wednesday, and on Thursday, I want you to find me parking in Birmingham City Centre and book me lunch at a restaurant at the top of Alpha Tower. And you're going to be able to verbally say, oh, yeah, and don't forget to get me some toothpaste. And you're going to be able to shout all those things and it'll take care of it. Your VA will be your computer system. It's not there yet, because if you've got one of these, you'll spend all day screaming at the thing. I didn't even say the name of my one now, because if I say the name of my one now, she'll say something. So I've not said anything. But it will get better than that. The voice is going to be huge.
Joe bought us an Alexa. I think he was drunk and he was like, we're getting an Alexa. And so now we have an Alexa. And in many ways, she's great. And in other ways, she wouldn't play me Elton John the other day. It's like, dude. Anyway, but so it's kind of going to be like the Jetsons, it sounds like then.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It is. And so the VR and AR is going to be massive. I think of, people will often say to me, they're fearful of the future. It's going to be this dystopian nightmare. But if you were to come back to what I said earlier, which is about the elderly in a home, imagine the elderly relative in the home where not only can they have a video call with their family, but let's say that they can actually see them in the room. They are as if hologrammatically in the room in front of them.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move to a point where at home, I can hologrammatically have one person in the room in front of me and my partner can have another, and neither of us can hear or see each other's person. So the kids can have one, I can have one. Facebook are getting into this. Facebook are already working on this because they want to replace our television with augmented reality.
Right.
Problem at the moment, no one wants to wear glasses. The problem with 3D in the cinema, no. That's the technology stumbling block that's not been beaten yet.
Yeah, they'll be interesting to see that actually, because I know that 3D stuff makes some people feel sick as well. So I'm thinking that the virtual reality stuff is going to have the same effect on some people. So that's going to be interesting to see how they overcome that for people, or if they even bother, and maybe it's for some people, not for others.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Vicky. It's a good point to make that many people may have tried out some of the entry-level VRs, and that's pretty much a bit of cardboard that you put your phone into and put your face into it. That makes you feel sick super quick. It's not a good indication of what true VR is like with a proper immersive headset. So if somebody's done that and you've tried it and you've gone, oh no, it was awful. Go try the real thing. Go try the thing that needs a powerful computer and has the real different kind of stuff.
Okay. Do you know what that's got me thinking of now? Do you remember, did you ever watch Red Dwarf?
Yes.
Do you remember the immersive reality things?
Yeah.
And I remember watching that and thinking, oh, that's crazy. I wonder if we'll ever have that. Are we getting close to that kind of thing being a thing now?
There's these haptic suits. So these sensor suits now that you can wear in certain places that will give mild electric shocks, like those stim pads that you use for toning. And I've seen one where you fight zombies. You're in The Walking Dead, and when the zombies hit you, it tenses your muscles and gives you an electric shock. And the sensation is phenomenal. It's scary, and it's really freaky. And what we'll see now is the advent of sensors are cheaper. So sensors and actuators are getting cheaper and cheaper. So more and more products can have sensors. So the VR headsets, you can get this now for an Oculus Rift, which is a home VR set. It's got a heart rate monitor in it. And when you play the game, if your heart rate increases, it tones down the scares. And if your heart rate decreases and you're chilled out, it gives you a big jolt and a scare. So it's monitoring how you're feeling about it, so it can understand the context of the person that's in it. So it's not going to cause you to be terrified to death, because it can recognize your heart rate.
That's got all kinds of possibilities, good and bad. I can just picture some people listening to this and thinking that sounds both awesome and scary, and it's that fear of the unknown, I guess, isn't it? What's going to happen, what's going to come. But I love the applications that are going to help people and make things more accessible to people who otherwise might not have access to, I don't know, the world as we do.
Yeah, that's the key. And many people, I often have people say to me, why can't people do face-to-face? Why, kids can't talk to each other anymore? It's not true. It's not true. It's our misconception when you're older, because we know of the past that's come before. For my daughters now, who are 3 years old and nearly 2 years old, this world is this world. They don't know any different. This is 1976 in the equivalent of me to them. So what they're going to have in the future is going to be amazing, but it doesn't freak them out because that's all they've ever known. And we freak because we've seen what came before. Yeah. And people have you got friendships with now that aren't local to you? I have friends all over the world thanks to social media. I'm communicating more with people than ever, and particularly with this now. We've got video on now, and that's the key. Video is now easily accessible over our mobile phone networks, and that brings us together more.
Yeah. So there's definitely some really, really cool uses of technology. Loads of really cool. I love tech. I love science. Okay, so we're running out of time a little bit, so I just wanted to dive into two things. I wanted some tips and things, but before that, what What are the biggest problems that your customers come to you with?
Usually the first ones that they come to is that everything is, don't understand it, and it's unreliable and it keeps breaking all of the time for them. And that can be addressed in two simple answers to that. One, don't understand it. Not enough time spent on education and helping people. The word training always invokes expensive bills and hundreds of pounds for consultancy rates and things like that. Actually, training can be a lot less. There's loads and loads of stuff like Udemy online. Udemy.com. There is pretty much a training course that someone's put together on all sorts of things, and they're super cheap, $20 a go for a training course.
Yeah.
So if you've got employees, educate them, work with people that teach them. The more that they learn, the better that they'll get, the more confident they get. Experiment. Have IT systems you can experiment with. How do you experiment? Focus, get your systems based around cloud where your data is safe and you can try new things out. And by experimenting, we get better at things. It's really all about, as with everything in life, it's about how we see it. It's our mindset. It's changing our perception about how we do it. But you can't break these things in the way that you think. They're not as delicate as you think they are. And if you've got a good partner, if you've got that local relationship with someone and you say to them, is my data safe, Carl? You go, yeah, I've got it. Don't worry. Try some stuff out. You're fine. I've got you back. Then you can go ahead and experiment. And that's when you'll have the fun.
Cool. I found YouTube to be a great resource for free training as well, because people just are like, oh, I want to teach people how to do this. And then it's up on YouTube and it's like, it doesn't cost anything. You just have to search around for it a bit, I think. I also have a top tip for techie people who are making training. Get somebody who understands your customer to help you put the training together, because one of the problems that I find when I'm trying to learn stuff is that they will talk they've got like the curse of knowledge. They know exactly what they're talking about. They have a really deep understanding of their technology, and they really struggle to explain it to somebody like me who has zero understanding. So getting somebody to help you to kind of put it in the right language, put it in the right context for somebody who really is a technical idiot is really, really important. I just want to throw that in there because that's one of the things I struggle with. Okay, so finally, what little known tips and tricks can you share with my listeners that could save us time and energy and money and that kind of thing?
Well, one of the first ones that I put out there, particularly for people starting out in business, is don't dismiss the market of what's called refurbished hardware. So you don't have anything that's brand new all of the time. Refurbished can often mean it got shipped to my company. We opened the box, went, that's not what we ordered. We resealed the box and we shipped it back on a return. That then can't be sold as brand new again. You can get some fantastic bargains. So you don't need to buy brand new stuff. And the reason being is that today's technology is so powerful that chances are it's way more powerful than what you actually need. So you can buy something from 1 to 2 years ago. That can be a great way for a business to get moving. So look into that. Refurbished suppliers all over the internet. That'll help you get a little bit of leverage with your money. That's
exactly what I did a week or so ago when I was looking for an iPad Pro for doing my car tuning on. And and I was kind of looking for, what do I need? And, how much is it going to cost? And I just went to Apple's refurb store and got a really good bargain on. And it looks bright as far as I'm concerned. It's brand new. Yeah. And I bet it is. Literally, it came out the box at somewhere and it was meant for, and it never got sold and it's gone back into the box. It does not mean that anybody's actually used it. Yeah. Which is really, really cool. That's a really good tip. Also, eco-friendly. Yeah, the sharing nation is taking off. Absolutely taking off. That side of things where people want to share stuff. I saw a street bank recently, which is an app that allows you to advertise whether you've got a lawnmower or a jet washer or something like that, and people in the local area can rent it off you for £5 or whatever you want to do. So again, there's lots more of this in the younger generation who want to share and not waste things. Yeah, that's really good. Absolutely right. So, keeping stuff going and make and mend, it's actually all coming back into fashion. Yeah. What did you say that app was called, the sharing app? Street Bank. Street Bank. We'll get that in the show notes. Thank you. Because that's... if it's not exactly that one, Vicky, I'll get it for you in the show notes. I'm pretty sure it's that, but if it isn't, we'll get it in the notes. Cool. Okay, cool. So what else can we do that makes things a little bit easier and quicker for us? Well, as I've reiterated before and said this time about the cloud, the key is to get your applications there. So you want to make sure that you're running everything from either Google G Suite or Microsoft Office 365. They are the two people in that area. They're going to do all your email, your documents, your sheets, your PowerPoint slides, all of those. Pick one of those and put your business into that. Don't have the fear that what if they go offline? These are huge behemoths of organizations. They're not going to disappear on you. And again, if you've got that local partnership, you're going to have somebody who's going to help you get that set up. Once it's set right, you're going to have super flexibility. You can work from anywhere that you want to go.
You're going to use your phone more. Get into using your phone. Get some of these apps on your phone and start getting engaged in talking to people and start thinking of yourself as someone who uses technology.
Okay, so what apps can you recommend for people? And you kind of mentioned G Suite and whatnot. Are there any others that you use that you find really, really helpful?
Yeah, I found one actually this morning called Shaper. So that's SHAPR. And it's a little networking app that you can sign up for. You can sign in with LinkedIn on your profile from that. And it gives you swipes. Swipe left, swipe right to meet people, maybe hook up for a coffee or go for something. So it's a little way of doing some social networking for introverted people who don't want to go out and necessarily hit the bricks at 6:30 in the morning.
Is that like Tinder for business?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, pretty much that's what someone's done. Yeah, it's like Tinder for business. So that's a pretty good thing that you can use it. That's an app that I use all of the time. Another one I use is Waze.
Oh,
Waze
yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with Waze. It's got a big lag on it, and so it'll be like turn left, and I'll be like turn left. Oh, it was back there, and I'm like, oh, you bastard. But I do love Waze. In many ways, I love Waze.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on the lag side of things. Many of them suffer with that. The cool thing about Waze is when it will tell you what's going on with the traffic, because everyone's phone who's got it on, it'll tell you when it's bunched up. So it's real-time traffic analysis, and that's kind of pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that's a bit like as well when you search for something in Google and it shows you the times of day on that little graph as to when something is busy. Yes. What that's actually doing is that's Google telling you when the phones are in proximity to that location at that time.
Yeah.
So actually, that's how they work out when something's busy or not busy. It's because each one of their Android phones is reporting in.
They're
actually quite accurate. So when it says that the soft play centre is busy between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, it's going to be busy between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. That's how they know. It's not a guess. It's based on statistical data.
That's really cool. I did not know that that's how they figured it out. I hadn't even thought about it before. So
yeah, exactly. You don't think about these things. It was my business partner who shared that one with me because here's the answer to actually how they do that, Carl. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then it makes total sense when someone shares it with you as well.
Yes.
If I can give you one more app.
Yeah, do.
Most people have heard of maybe a password manager. We've got loads of passwords to remember. It's a nightmare. What you want to do is get yourself a password manager, something like LastPass or Password One. And what that does, it means is every time you visit a website on your computer, it will save that big long password for you. And you can log in on your phone with your fingerprint. So you can just press the fingerprint and it logs you in. And then that's your master password to look after that whole thing. Get the thing called two-factor authentication on that.
Yeah.
What that means is that you get a text message or another kind of PIN code that you have to put in. So if I got your password, Vicky, I can't log in without having your mobile phone. And the chances are I'm not going to have your mobile phone, even if I've swiped your password from looking after your shoulder. So it does get a little bit tricky. And I can send you that to put in the show notes again for people so they can do that. But the password manager apps are really good. Stop remembering passwords. Stop using the same one. Have big, long, massive ones and just use your fingerprint.
You're going to be so proud of me right now because I got myself RoboForm a few weeks ago and I have been using that. And so now I have like ridiculous passwords made up of symbols and things and I don't have to remember them. And I felt like such a grown-up when I did that.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Cool. Okay, I think we're sadly running out of time. I'm going to get you back at some point next year, I think, and you can tell us what's the latest. But this has been super interesting. It's a bit different from what I usually do with the podcast, and I think people are going to find it really, really interesting and really helpful.
Oh, that's great. I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Where can people find out more about you, Kyle? Where can we find you online?
You can, whatever with these kind of things, mostly LinkedIn is where I am, and you can find me, Carl Heath, on LinkedIn, and I'll come up on there. You can find me under my business, which is at kimberley.com, Kimberley IT. You can find out there. And you can also Google me. And I'm pretty good on page one on Google now because I've been spouting around for a long time. It's me and some Canadian athlete, but just don't click the Canadian athlete and then I'll be the other one. That's the bonus of having a name like Kyle. There weren't that many of us.
No, that's true. Cool. Okay, well, go check out Kyle. Find him on LinkedIn. He's a very friendly chap, as you can hear. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I've really enjoyed learning all about technology. And we'll have you back at some point, and you can tell us what's the latest skinny. In the meantime, if you have any questions about anything business or marketing, you can send them to me, and I will answer them on the podcast. Joe will be back next week, and we'll be back same time next week. So be good, guys.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.